Hi, I'm Rhea.
And I'm Kat, and we're on Snooze.
Let's get cozy.
Let's get cozy. What are we talking about today, Rhea?
Today we're talking about the future of our careers.
Our careers, education, how we got here. All of it. We're doing all of it today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get it in 40 minutes.
Yes.
Because it's a journey.
It's journey.
We kind of hinted at it before, but I guess we should just talk about our majors, baby. And our field of study,
Yeah.
I should say. And how we got there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Miss Film.
Okay, so I actually didn't start off as film. I applied to college as a psychology major.
I forgot you did that.
Yeah, so I applied to college as a psych major because I was like, I'm gonna help people.
If I'm mentally ill, I'm gonna help other people who may be struggling with mental illness.
No, quite literally. I failed the first psych class I took. And yeah.
What do you mean by fail? Like full F?
Like, full on had to retake the class.
Nice. I love that for you.
Yeah, so I was like, if I can't pass Psych 101, maybe I'm not the future helper of minds. So I turned to the arts.
Bye.
Yeah, so then I found my passion. Well, I knew my passion, but I pursued my passion of film. I applied to the film program at the college I was at.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get in the first time.
I was there for that.
Yeah. But I did not let that stop me. I applied the second and last time I could, and thank fuck I got in. So yeah, then I started the film program. My parents weren't too fond on the idea of being a film major because, you know, they came to this country for us to, like, make a living and, like, do traditional shit. So they were like, hey, so happy that you're, like, pursuing your dreams, but this is not what we came here for. Add another major. So they wanted me to do something in the sciences, and because I can't do math for the life of me, I was combing through literally every major in the college handbook and seeing what major required the least amount of math.
Are you joking?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that's how you came to this.
Yeah.
I thought you actually, cared.
No, I do care. I do care. So I was super into, like, geology and geography and stuff like that, but surprisingly, there's so much fucking math involved. And I wanted to do something with environmental science, also fuck ton of math involved. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, like...
And biology.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I can't do that because, like, I don't have it in me. But then I found sustainability. And it required the one math class I had, like, passed... barely. I got a D on it. It gave me the credit.
Slay.
Yeah, but that's all I needed. So I luckily I had already taken that, and I was like, okay, cool. And pretty much I can pick whatever classes. I can take geology classes. I can take geography classes. I can take it whatever, like, way I want to do it. So I finished college with a sustainability degree and a film degree.
Double majored.
Double major, baby. And
wow.
I still can't find a job. And now I'm in Kat's bed on a podcast.
Next career venture. Here it is. Here's our pitch.
Now professional yapper.
Add that to resume. Professional yapper. Oh gosh, that's good.
Yeah.
I followed my dreams through and through, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I shouldn't mention that. Actually, it's kind of funny. Actually, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, I was interested, I'm a femme girly who was in the YouTube space in, like, 2015-ish, 2016 era. And so I was like, oh my god, I'm going to be a beauty influencer. And then I realized, like, oh, I hate getting acne. So, like, I'm actually not going to do that. So that was, like, a side passion. I've always, like, had these, like, yes, I'm going to be a nail tech. I'm gonna be a beauty guru. Yeah, I'm gonna be a hairstylist.
Yeah.
Cuts my bangs twice in like a mental breakdown, and then all of a sudden I swear I could be a hairstylist. But with all that being said, I knew I wanted to study marine biology from...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I even went to study abroad to this marine biology program, and I did that for a month, 2 months in the summer, and I loved it. It was super fun. The research part of things I really enjoyed. But in one of the sections in the course, we did a sustainability like portion where we learned how to, well, we like did a collaboration with this coral reef nursery. So they were, you know, rebuilding and replenishing the coral reefs out where I was at. And I was so interested in that. And they were also partnered with wildlife conservation. So this group in particular was focused on sea turtles. And so that all of the sustainability stuff and the conservation aspects of things I really enjoyed. But through trying to pursue marine biology and conservation, I had learned a lot of it came from like environmental law. Like a lot of the things that were to get passed in the activism portion is one side of it, but there's a whole nother side of like environmental law. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be an environmental lawyer. So comes political science. But shortly after that, I realized I cared a lot more about
the people.
Not to say that wildlife is not equally as important.
Kat said, fuck the wildlife?
No. I did not say that. I think I noticed that there wasn't enough education happening so that the average everyday person knew how to get involved. And that was the portion of things that I really enjoyed, which got me into political science.
Oh my God.
And then got me into education.
That's then okay, hold on. New like friendship throwback to the first episode about our friendship test. Like, why are we still friends? Okay. You just said all of that.
Yeah.
And I want to make documentaries to do that. So people, like the average person, can understand why certain topics are important.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I want to educate people through film.
Yeah, so that's where my big draw was, is that, you know, and in high school we went to a very different high school where a lot of the things were all conversation based. A lot of Socratic seminars was like an every hour occurrence. But with that, it taught me that, okay, like, people actually think that kids are stupid. Like, they think that they don't know how or would even conceptualize the idea of how to help others. But what it really came down to is, how do they know? Yeah. Like, how do they know these problems are going on in the world when, like, nobody's talking about them? How do you teach kids how to, like, critical think when we don't put any time and attention into teaching them how to critically think? Yeah. And so this idea of getting into politics just kind of got bigger and bigger, which slowly turned into, I wanted to focus more on, like, education reform, like putting more attention into teaching critical skills that allowed people to be active participants in the world that they're living in. So then that's how I got into, I'm in political science. That's what, like, my field is. But the goal, education is the end game for sure.
Damn, I didn't know that story arc. That's actually, like, so fucking cool.
From marine biologist all the way to educator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there, like, something specific you want to teach, or is it just, like, a generalized thing?
I think I'm most comfortable with, I think political government, when you learn it at, like, the high school and like elementary level, is an easier way of saying political science. Yeah. But I think that the science aspect of things is, like, the numbers, the census, things like that. The
data and everything.
Yeah, the data and all of that, which is important. But I think that when you're in those more like monumental years, when you're
Yeah. Like the fundamental
yeah,
learning.
the ground laying is definitely where I want to focus. But I think that there just isn't, you know, the American system very much is a box. You point
memorize,
A, point B, yeah.
You test, you pass.
Exactly. And I think that when we follow those paths, we forget how to encourage and allow people to critically think and have them really learn all aspects and
create your own opinions,
exactly
your own thoughts, not just like
what you hear and see, right?
Yeah, consume other people's things and just repeat those.
Exactly. And so that's like the main hope. My goal is that I get the experience as an educator so that I know what the classroom looks like. I know what it's like to teach be in the trenches basically.
Yeah.
But then to come out with that experience and then apply what I've learned there to like a whole district of schools and then to a whole state of school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of
girl boss that shit.
Yeah, like bring experiences from each level to like
a universal point.
Yeah, like to give just to give my brain like enough knowledge in every single step up to that like now I can make a clear and like firm stance in something.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
But right now, just U.S. history teacher.
Yes, let's teach the kids about what really happened.
Yeah, that's where the goal is right now.
Yeah. Solid. All right. So I'll be the documentary maker and oh my god, you could do all the research for the documentary.
Was there a subject in school that you thrived in that you didn't think? I guess I already know the answer. That you enjoy, but will like never pursue for realsies.
What do you think it is?
Geology rocks.
Oh yeah, I mean, I fucking love geology. Everything about like, yeah, just fucking geology. I'm a huge geology nerd. If it wasn't with so much math, I would have pursued that hands down. But you need to be a fucking mathematician, I guess, to fucking do geology. So
so weird.
Yeah, so I just, I took, luckily for my sustainability major, sustainability is such a broad term and you can take so many avenues within that. And even the university I was at didn't have like a particular like course route to take. A lot of it was up to the student to kind of choose which direction they wanted to take it. Mm-hmm. So there's like the business side, environmental side, political side. There's so many avenues, and I wanted to focus on the environmental sustainability and environmental ethics, environmental law. I took so many of those types of courses. I really wanted to focus on the physical sciences of sustainability, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to put together with film and make documentaries about environmental issues, social issues, stuff like that, just because that's what my particular background is in.
Like lends itself to.
Yeah, because I have friends who are in the same sustainability major and they took like a business route, and those are completely different classes, and I'm like, I have no idea, like we have the same degree but two completely different learning outcomes from it. So they're qualified for being hired to like big companies and run like their sustainable like data and whatever that means, while I'm more into like field work and like on the ground to do like environmental work.
That's interesting because that's how I am too. Because political science is similar because you can do like data analysis basically of political trends. So especially in like comparative politics, it's all numbers and you're comparing, they have like a grand number scale for each country.
Like the GDP.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah. And so those numbers are the numbers that are always how they get those numbers, whatever. I hate that part of it. Yeah. It is so...
It's taxing.
some people, and that for some people that's what they love. Like they love that aspect of things. I think for me, I'm more on the history side of things, and then I would also say like just I'm definitely more US based. I don't know if that's like typically by choice, but I think that issues that are happening like international affairs is just so complex.
Oh yeah.
And it's just not my area of expertise. Exactly. But political science takes a similar route. People do political science and then go out to business as well, and like that pipeline is very common. Same with like political science to criminal justice is a pipeline. Yeah. Political science to law is a pipeline. Like there are a ton of different routes you could go.
Yeah.
I'm taking political science education.
Yeah.
But all of the things that I'm interested in, I think education lends itself for me to explore. Like I can learn these things and then pass them on through a lesson or so, whatever. But
so okay, so we've kind of discussed kind of like what we're currently doing and like what kind of led us to these points. Mm-hmm. What is your like ultimate career goal? Like what's your dream job? Like what will you be doing when you know I made it?
That's a hard question.
I know.
You know what's funny is me and Victoria were talking about this actually yesterday.
Oh.
We were talking about this yesterday because I feel like I do not learn traditionally.
Oh.
My idea of success is less based in like the milestones of life, right? Yeah. And more measured in how what I'm doing makes me feel.
Me fucking too.
So, yeah, like I think it would be nice to like have the nuclear life, you know, the picket fence, owning my own house, whatever. You know, like the middle class status. Yeah, exactly.
The ultimate American dream.
Exactly. However, I think that teaching has always been, being a teacher, period, has always been my goal. Mm-hmm. I would say it didn't become a reality until a lot more recently in my life, but that's only because the dreams and the goals that Victoria has allows me. I also don't want to. I have two sisters, and I feel tremendously responsible for how they get through life as well. And so the idea of making a teacher salary, unfortunately, has never felt enough for the type of life that I want to be comfortable in financially. But because her dreams and her idea of success and the things that she wants, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, gives me the space to do that, I would be perfectly content being 65 and a teacher. Yeah. Like that to me, as long as I'm teaching what I like and I'm in a school where I think their values match mine, which is why, like, we've kind of talked about it. I would love to teach at our old high school, not because like, oh, I miss high school. Alumni, it's giving. But I think that the things that I learned there were things that I truly never had before that point. Yeah. And to be in high school and not feel confident in my way of thinking and not feel confident to say, oh, I agree with you. However, like I would have never did that in middle school or
any traditional school.
Exactly.
Yeah, the high school we went to was like alternative. They taught with a hands-on approach, and the students and the teachers were like almost equals, where everyone was kind of treated the same. We called our teachers by their first names. Everything was collaborative work. There weren't any like real exams. It was just group projects, and that was the way we learned, and that itself was like life-changing for me because I couldn't memorize or study out of a textbook and do that. I failed every single class in middle school. I failed my first few classes in college because it went back to that traditional way of teaching.
Which is such a shame because I think there are also things that and I think that's maybe what I mean by, like, I don't necessarily value, like, a title. Like, in no way have I ever thought about myself and been like, oh, I need to be a CEO of something, right? However, I think to have such a space where I'm able to pass the things that are, the knowledge that I have, and to aid a whole, and hopefully, like, many generations of young people into stepping out into their own world is where I would be happy.
Yeah.
If that meant that I
like
was
making an impact.
Exactly.
That's,
even if it's just like one student.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's
a cliche thing, like, oh, like one student, but it really is like one student like taking that and being super successful.
And that's how I feel. That's how I view it. And so there is no like top point for me where I'm like, I need to be making X amount a year, and I need to be driving a Bugatti. You know what I mean? Like that, I could care less.
No, literally.
But what about you?
I
50 documentaries. What are we thinking?
I'm actually kind of on the same wavelength as you. I was having this conversation with my mom, and she was like, okay, so, and then where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And I'm like, well, that's a big question, but
I'm like, babe, I don't know the next 2 months.
No, literally, I'm like, I don't know what life is gonna look like in 4 days from now.
We'll get into that.
But yeah, money, isn't my fucking like dream. Like that's not what I'm chasing. It really is just about doing what I love, being happy, and living comfortably. Yeah. Those are my 3 things to being happy in my career and my life. I don't need to be making like multi-million blockbuster movies or documentaries or anything like that. It's like, as long as I'm behind a camera and shooting something that I feel like is an important subject or important film, that's really all it is. And if I get paid on top of that to, be able to live comfortably, I'm set. Yeah. Like, I don't care where I am in the world. I don't, like, I'm not here thinking, like, fuck, like, what do I need to do to, like, buy this house, like you were saying. In this economy, none of us are buying houses. BFFR.
That's true.
Like, and that's not, like, my dream life. Like, ooh, I'm, like, settled into, like, this nice house and, like, my kids and, like, this and that. It's very much just, like, as long as I'm filming, having a good time, making a living, I'm good. I'm set. Like, life complete.
Yeah. And I think that also goes into, like, when is something, like, to you, okay, say the paycheck on, you get an offer. Somebody's like, hey, we want you to film this documentary. We're going to pay you enough money so that you never have to work again, right? But the project is unethical, you feel. You're getting into the filming process and you're starting to notice that the way that they're asking you to capture a moment feels unethical and or suggestive.
Yeah. I actually had that happen. They weren't offering me money. It was, like, supposed to be a totally free project. And, of course, before, like, I knew the general gist of the project, and so I meet with this person, and I immediately, like, agreed to the project before I knew all, like, the nitty-gritty details. Which,
as you do.
Yeah, I'm starting out, like, and this, like, it was supposed to be in South America. It was, like, a super cool opportunity. And then, like, I meet with her again, and she starts telling me kind of, like, the nitty-gritty details of this project, and I'm like, this doesn't seem like something I really want to be a part of. Like,
yeah.
like, cool, like, you go do that, but it's not part of, like, what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't know if that's kind of something I can allow myself to be a part of and, like, happily promote and get excited about.
And, like, put your name on.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm sure a ton of people would think, oh, super cool, nothing wrong with this idea. But then, like, taking a step back and, like, reevaluating it, I'm like, well, you know, you're going to be capitalizing off of a certain group of people first. You're going to be...
You're exploiting them.
You're exploiting people, yeah. And, you know, and it was, like, supposed to be, like, this indigenous tribe in South America. And about how they do, like, I don't know, something along, like, the lines of, like, ayahuasca and stuff like that, but in, like, the very traditional, like, tribal sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the project was, like, brought to me, I was like, yeah, I don't think I can, like, do that.
Yeah.
And I don't think money would change that either. If I was going to do that for free and I still turned it down, like, to jumpstart my career,
Yeah.
I don't think a number amount would change that either.
And I'm sure, I mean, I struggle with that equally, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
I do work for a coffee shop. We've kind of said it in a few episodes.
Yeah.
But the morality behind the coffee shop that I work for is not great at all. But it's starting to be even more unquestionable in the last few months, for sure.
More questionable.
More questionable. What did I say?
Unquestionable.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say unquestionably blank. But yeah, the practices are just starting to feel more inherently unethical all the time. And I do struggle with, you know, when I first started off there, you really believe, you know, they have their fancy slogans and their missions and all these things that they
kind of like trap you in.
Yeah, and so all of that sounds amazing. And when you're in it for the first 1-2 years, it really does capture all of that. Mm-hmm. And recently I've been struggling a lot with it pays. I mean, I'm in my own apartment. I pay the bills for this place. Well, obviously with my roommates and stuff. But like I'm on my own, and so there's that pressure of, well, this is consistent income. Yeah. However, it feels unethical to do the things that I'm doing sometimes. Yeah. Which, not, like, I'm serving coffee. So, like, but, you know, the thing, like...
But it's so much more layered than just that.
Yeah, you know, like, when we get these videos from CEOs and, like, this is what they're telling us, I'm just like, this feels wrong. Yeah. You know? And I know we've kind of talked about it. I've kind of, like, told Rhea, like, the details of some of those things. But it is super hard when... I couldn't imagine
when your livelihood is...
Yeah, when your livelihood is on the line. Especially when this could be the thing that jumpstarts the career for you. And for you to step back and be like, okay, but, like... this is, like, not great. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely can see that struggle, and I think film is that industry can get unethical real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because I'm not, like, money driven, which I should be to an extent. I should be worried about.
Sometimes I'm like, Miss Girl, please.
Yeah, I've been in the negatives in my bank account. That's when I'm like, okay, get money driven, bitch. It's not all about, like, following your passions.
I'm like, babe, you're working 80 hours a week on this. Like, please.
But yeah, I think having, like, strong morals and values won't change even when big sums of money enters the picture. Because if your values and morals are strong enough, nothing's gonna change that. Not even some big fancy fat ass check will change that. It may make you waver.
And sometimes it does. You know, there are times where as soon as I'm ready to quit said place, suddenly the big CEO gives us a little
something.
A little kiss of money, and I'm like, I'll shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, I will. Flat white. Like, I'm like, you know. Karen. No, literally. It definitely, but in that same breath, when it comes to committing to a job and committing to my time, I always say that, like, my time is just as valuable as the money that I'm seeing. A huge part of education for me too is education's first, like, when you first start trying to pursue it, I'm sure there are unethical practices that happen in the education system, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But when you put down, like, oh, this is what I want to do, I want to teach, there is no, how would you say, like, there's no,
like, questioning?
Yeah, there's no questioning of if this will cross a morale.
Yeah.
Which is, I always want to do things that I'm proud of, that I feel are purposeful, even if it's as simple as making coffee. Like, from that process all the way until my ultimate goal, I always want to be doing things that are purposeful to me, that allow me to have some type of fulfillment after money. You know what I'm trying? Yeah, like, money is, let's be real, money's always going to come first. And, like...
Yeah, you need to, like, pay the bills.
Exactly.
Support yourself.
So, like, I'm not going to be taking 3 cents an hour. Like, realistically.
To be, like, the best person on the planet.
Yeah, I'm like, babe. But, you will not see me doing free labor for a church. Like, you have money. Just...
No, they really fucking
pass me a mill, please. But I have to really believe in something in order for me to dedicate time to, I mean, even with this podcast.
Yeah.
Neither one of us is, like, professional yappers from now until the end of time, until this pops off, right? But this takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes so much of our time. It takes so much. We're learning new things every episode that we put out. We've never done this before. There's no, like, YouTube video that teaches you how to... I'm sure there is, actually. Like, we didn't watch it. Maybe we should have. But there is no, like, step-by-step on how to do this foolproof every single time.
Yeah.
There are hiccups, there are bumps. It is what it is. However, I would not be dedicating so many hours of the day and with you.
Right.
For free.
No, literally.
I'm just kidding.
But we are doing it for free, but it's like...
But we will, like, right, jokingly, like, all jokes aside, I do believe in, like, what we do here. I believe that, like, this is good. I think just, even if it's not for everybody else, I think it's good for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's, like, another outlet that I have to at least talk about things, and with you, of course, and just... You know, I have my therapist, but I also have the podcast.
Miss Kitty. Cue montage of my face all over the screen. But, I mean, I think that's kind of that's what I mean by the work that I do always has to be purposeful.
Yeah.
Like, even when I'm saying what we do here is purposeful, it's purposeful for the both of us.
Yeah.
I think it brings me a lot of joy. It brings me a lot of pride to do what we do. And it's a lot. I mean, I'm learning new things every damn day. And that to me is also really cool.
Yeah. It's made me think about, like, different some of the topics that we've talked about and want to talk about, stuff like that. It makes my brain work.
It does.
And I really enjoy that. Even though, you know, sometimes we're fucking exhausted and get no work done.
Yeah.
But, you know, that happens. But this is a fantastic outlet for our brains to just kind of work and just collaborate and just information.
I would say that each of us has struggled up until this point to find...
a purpose.
Yeah, a purpose, but also a purpose that pays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that for the same reason that I stay at this coffee shop, and for the same reason that you do your gigs. I didn't know if you wanted me to say the jobs.
I mean, and no, that's fine. Yeah, I worked at a fucking tax office for 5 years
Yeah.
to pay the fucking bills. Do I know anything about taxes? No. Do
I
I
ask
like
her
taxes?
every tax season. Nothing.
I know 3 answers to 3 very specific questions, and that is all. I was purely the cute little receptionist.
But it's hard, especially we see people around us who are our age,
Starting fucking full-time.
families, full 9 to 5s, and all of which is great. I mean,
Ooh, yeah.
okay, it's okay. Rhea just had a thought. But we see all of these people taking all these adult routes, which we are adults. I mean, we could buy a beer at 5 a.m. We could do that because we're adults.
They start selling alcohol at 6 a.m.
Wait, is that like a law?
Yeah. Back in, like, I don't know, a few years ago when I first...
Yeah, why were you trying to buy alcohol at 5 a.m.?
It was a bender that weekend. I don't know what it was, but...
Nice choice of words.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like an all-nighter, and like at 5:50 we went to like Vaughn's or something, tried to get like some sort of alcoholic beverage, and they were like, oh, we don't sell alcohol until 6 a.m. and we were like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, cutoff is like from 3 a.m. to like 6 a.m.
I did know the cutoff was at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. But we are adults, but I think sometimes it's hard not to compare. Yeah. When you see, like, okay, these people are getting, like, they're getting their own office. And it's not a cubicle, it's an office. And they have their cute little keyboards set out and their matching mouses. And I'm just like,
You're like, how?
I'm like, flat white for Karen. I'm like, but,
My taxes?
It is almost tax season.
Literally.
It's among us.
Welcome to blah, blah, blah. How can I assist you today?
Did you ever have to do cold calling?
Yeah.
I love cold calling.
Dude, I hated that. I would get yelled. I would get verbally harassed hours at a time.
I loved cold calling. It was so... I would talk to people for easily 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, as soon as I would say the name of the place I was calling from, I would immediately start getting, like, cursed at. They'd be like, why the fuck are you calling me? Like, I'm not fucking interested. If I was, I would fucking call you guys. I don't know why the fuck you're calling me. Fuck you. Like, tell your boss, like, to take my fucking phone off, like, the call list. And I'm like...
Sometimes...
I'm like 18, sir. Like, shut the fuck up. Like,
wait, that scene in Wolf of Wall Street?
I'm getting paid $12 an hour.
That scene in Wolf of Wall Street where Leonardo DiCaprio is like... I'm going to bring you in at 10, then take you out. Yeah, that's exactly how... I don't know what it is about... Right, this is off topic. But I don't know what it is about... I did cold calling for an insurance company.
Oh, yeah.
And I was doing that for a really long time. But my boss was like... I've never had anybody bring in so many appointments. And I would just like... And usually it's older people because... Everybody does insurance is all done online now. Like, everybody can do it through an app.
Yeah.
But the older folks are the ones who like to come in. They like to talk your ear off. And I'll be on the phone with, hey, Julianne, yeah. Oh, that's what you're growing in the garden today? You ever had finger limes? Mm-mm. A finger lime tree goes for like $150.
The fuck is a finger lime?
They are limes, but they look like little mini pickles. You crack them open and they have...
I had you try one.
Yeah, this lady brought them into the office for us because on the phone we were talking about citrus.
That's so funny.
And I sold her a whole insurance package.
Slim.
I don't know what it is. I just like talking.
Hence the podcast.
But anyway, that was violently off topic. But anyway, it is hard to go day to day trying to pursue a 9 to 5 when everybody around us is seemingly in their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to wear a pantsuit every day. I would love that.
Oh no, an office job is like my actual nightmare. If you ever see me at an office job, shoot me.
You know, all my bookmarked things on TikTok are teacher outfits.
I mean, that's cute. That makes sense.
But like, I just want it so
Yeah.
bad. I just want that life so bad.
I remember when I said ew.
Bring us back, please.
Yes. You made an interesting comment about looking at people, our peers, people our age in these like completely different positions that we are in with like either families or these like super good like 9 to 5 jobs. How did that make you feel? Like, were there any like certain feelings when people like that started popping up around you? Because I have like a very specific like.
I have a moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, most of the people we're talking about are people from high school because
Yeah, those are people we were connected with, and
yeah, friends we're close enough to now.
all live similar lifestyles.
I wouldn't say all live similar lifestyles. I mean, I think they're all very. We have that one friend who I don't talk to her as much now, but her job is like in the I'm not sure what she does like to be specific, but I see her posts kind of like being outdoors all the time.
Oh yeah.
And to me, I'm like, wow, like that's really great for her. Like this is something that this kind of area has always been her pursuit.
Yeah.
And to see her accomplish that is great, right? Mm-hmm. So like we have friends who were close to like achieve some of those goals, but I think it's like less so abrupt.
Yeah.
In comparison to people we just went to high school with.
Where we see like, oh, you were in college and now suddenly you're at this big fancy company like doing everything you worked for.
Yeah. Yeah, so there are 2 moments for me actually because you know, some of the couples we went to high school with are like still together and so it's only so like when they are getting engaged and like getting married, having kids, I'm like, yeah, there's no surprise there. Like you guys have been together since high school. Like
of course.
Please. Yeah. So like in those ones I'm kind of like, meh, like it's more so like that just makes sense. Yeah. And like kudos, right?
You found the one.
Yeah, I'm like, you're so lucky you found the one in high school. Like that's amazing, right? But I would say that we were really close, or at least I was really close to this one kid in high school, and he lives out in New York now. Mm-hmm. And him and his friend, like the same group of friends he had in high school, all live out there. Yeah. And so to see, and New York is so different from San Diego. I just went to New York for the first time last year, and so different. Yeah. I do not know how people do it. It's like slightly overwhelming. And that's for somebody who enjoys a city. New York is just like it's so scary. Yeah, like to me it's so daunting.
Yeah, here we're like laid back, have the beach, you work,
people wear flip-flops to Broadway.
No,
like please,
literally.
So seeing him and that group of friends like be out there is just like, I wouldn't say it's more like envy, but also just like,
oh wow,
yeah, like I'm amazed and I feel like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy, like you're really out there,
yeah,
living and
doing that
in the city, you know.
I had kind of like a different like thing. I think like the marriage and the kids, that's never like been my like thing. So yeah. I never took that like to heart that, oh, I'm not there yet, because like that can wait. I was more focused on the people who were doing well in school, finishing school quickly, and then getting like the job of their dreams. And as somebody who, it took me quite a long time to kind of get oriented and situated with what I wanted to pursue. And it took me 6 years to graduate undergrad.
That's okay, baby. You smart. No, double major.
Right. So, like, when my 5th year, I was like, oh, yeah, like, I'm a 5th year. Like,
bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
No, yeah, I was like, ooh, I'm a 5th year. And, being, like, one of the older students in your classes, there's, like, 19-year-olds and you're, like, 22. You're like, oh, I should have been there, like, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So, in college, in even my last year, luckily my sixth year, which was even worse to say out loud, I there were some older people in those classes, and it was kind of like a safe haven where like there was like a no judge zone, because sometimes you could tell like the younger people who were like 20, 21, they were looking at us like 23 to like even 30-year-olds like, what the fuck are you still doing in college? And it's like everyone does everything at their own pace. And it took me a long time
and you don't know the life they lived. You know what I mean?
Right. It took me a long time to kind of digest those words of like everyone does things at their own pace and there's no right or wrong pace. And for a long time I like struggled with understanding that, because I'm like, no, I'm not doing it right. I'm not on time. I'm missing out. I'm growing up and I'm not like growing.
Moving, yeah.
Yeah. But then now having graduated, I'm like, I don't think I could have done it any different way.
No.
And especially with what I want to do with my life, I'm like, I was looking at the wrong people the entire time. I'm like, of course they finished in 4 years. Of course they found a job instantly. It's like, yeah, that's what that career does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I struggled a lot with that internally. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing as well as other people, but retrospectively, like, I'm on my own journey. Like, we have nothing in common in that sense, and right now I'm doing everything I could have dreamed of, and that's what's important. It's like I'm at this point where everything happened for a reason, and I'm so content with that now.
I also think I didn't realize this until I was talking to Adrian, and Adrian's from a smaller town. So there's a much more clear pipeline. Typically, how he's expressed it to me is people get together in high school. They either get pregnant in high school, or they get pregnant right out of high school. They get married, and they live in this town until the end of their days, basically. And so one time, and I had kind of thought, thought similarly to you. And even when I'm talking about this one friend who had just had his first kid and we were close to him, I think it was more so that, not necessarily that like my goal is like, oh my gosh, when I have a kid is when I'll feel adult.
Yeah.
Like, that's not necessarily true. I don't think that at all for myself. But to see that he was making so many choices that would affect his now here legacy, and like having that be like right there was insane to me.
Yeah.
But even when I was more over to this point about, I'm talking to Adrian about this, and I'm expressing the same like, yeah, like I just feel like I'm like I need to get it together, this and that, whatever. And I was like talking to him about, we were talking about you too, and like we're just like having a conversation, and he's like, yeah, but like you guys have been like 1,000 places I've never been. Like, you guys decide you want to go somewhere, and you guys just do it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, I don't really like go places. And he was like, I've never been outside of San Diego. Like, you've lived in Sacramento for 2 years. Like, you've been to San Francisco more times than you can even count. And like, you've spent so much time there, and like, then you went to Australia, New Zealand for like a month just because, and like all of these things. And I was just like, I mean, you kind of right though. Like, sometimes I forget that like,
it's about like creating like the lifestyle that you want.
Exactly.
And yeah, these people with like the big corporate jobs probably haven't traveled and haven't done this and that because like they went the college straight to 9 to 5 pipeline,
which is fine. I mean, and for some people that's the goal and that's what they want, and that's great.
But that's my personal like nightmare.
Yeah.
I want to go explore the world. I have shit that I want to see and do, and like that prioritizes everything. Yeah,
like sometimes I had said Adrian is also super into marine biology, and that essentially that's what he wanted to do before getting into this whole film world. Funny. But we were talking about that, and he was like, oh, I want to learn how to scuba dive, and I was like, oh dude, like we should go, because
aren't you licensed?
I'm certified, yeah. I have a lifetime certification, so I never have to I don't ever have to renew it. I think the only other time I had to, I renewed it in Mexico.
Oh, nice.
So that I could go scuba diving in Mexico. But even with that, I was like, dude, yeah, like let's do that. I know these people out here that do it. And he was like, wait, what? Like, when did you learn how to scuba dive? And I was like, oh, when I went out to that thing. And he was like, wait, what? And I sometimes, like, I say it so nonchalantly that I forget, like, oh shit, like I did do that.
Yeah.
Like, I did learn. I am a certified scuba diver. Now, am I showing up to work late every other day? Yes, but I can scuba dive like no other, baby. Like, sometimes, like, I think it's just about what you value.
Yeah.
Like, I would never turn down those experiences, or even like, right. I obviously didn't get my degree at Sacramento State. I left, but I lived on my own for 2 years right out of high school. Like, I would never give up that experience for anything else, for like maybe that pipeline that we see. And that isn't to say that pipeline is bad, but I think sometimes I don't give myself, or even, it sounds like you too, like there isn't enough credit given that, like, we just live in our lives, baby. Like, if we decide we want to do something,
I'm gonna just do it.
we do it.
Yeah, I was, similar conversation. I was talking to my friend the other day, Darlene, and she was like, oh, like, you're going to New Zealand or Australia? And I'm like, no, Australia. She's like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, you should come. And she was like, I've never, like, been outside of San Diego.
Dude,
and, like, she, like, nothing. Like, and I'm like, well, like, what do you mean? And she was like, I don't know, like, that hasn't been my priority in the past. Like, I've done school, I've pursued my education and furthering my career, but seeing things hasn't been my priority. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, like, that's insane.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? To go on to that, the dogs are going crazy. Moreover, to that point, I had also said to Adrian, like, in that conversation, I was like, we were talking about like the future of this podcast, and I was saying, oh, well, I'm gonna go out there for like maybe a month and a half. Yeah. So I'm gonna work a lot up until that month and a half, and I'm just gonna take like an LOA from work. And he was staring at me, and he was like, wait, you're gonna go there for like a month and a half? And I was like, well, like, that's the goal, because I don't want to go out there for like a week, because like one day traveling traveling back, like that takes 2 valuable days, you know? So then I was like kind of talking about that, and I was like, dude, that's crazy that you're just like, oh yeah. I'm like, well,
like, why not?
Yeah, I'm like, you know, Victoria's not gonna be here, and so essentially I would be spending the holidays kind of on my lonesome. So it's like, honestly, fuck it. Yeah, I'll go out to Australia for like that time. And I think that you're like very similar to that. Like, Victoria was like also from this small town who like she had never been outside of San Diego until we went to San Francisco recently.
Shit.
And so to me, I'm like, baby, what do you mean? Like, baby, a flight?
This is like scratching the surface.
Like, oh, a 10-hour flight is no big deal, baby. Trust.
No, literally.
I'm like, so like, I think in those aspects, like, I forget, like, we
have done significant things, just alternatively.
Yeah. And I think,
not the traditional aspect of things, which is like,
but it's worked for us.
Fine. Yeah. You know, it caters to what we want to do with our lives.
It's true.
And everyone's different, and thinking of these things retrospectively, I think both of us are now coming to realize that, yeah, 2 completely different lifestyles, 2 completely different paces, but like, we're both getting what we want out of our personal lives.
100%. I feel very satisfied with my life up until this point.
Yeah. I think recently I've got the chance to like sit back, and I'm like, it took 6 years to finish college, but I studied what I wanted. I'm doing what I want now. I've seen things that I've wanted. Yeah, I worked at a shit tax office for 5 years, but
baby, it pays the flights.
That's exactly. It paid my flights, and it paid my tuition.
Bless
God bless.
Yeah.
Blank, blank, blank. I hated that place, but it gave me the opportunity. Well, no, it didn't give me the opportunity. It gave me the money to pursue things that I actually wanted to do.
It's true. You know what, I never realized that about us until we were talking about this right now. We also come from backgrounds where because traveling is like a pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, your whole family's from Greece, right?
Yeah.
My grandparents are from the Philippines. So my grandparents have nonstop traveled all over the world. And so in that, I've also, they're always pushing my mom to travel as much as she can, which we didn't do until we met my stepdad.
Yeah.
We didn't do a lot of, I think the farthest we had ever been was like Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dream. That was so fun.
I mean, Hawaii's fucking trip.
Yeah, it was just me and my mom, and I think I was like 7 or something. I was really young. But not until I was in my adulthood, like right when I turned 18 was when we started like going places. Yeah. And from that point on, I kind of haven't stopped. My grandparents and I really bond over that kind of experience. Like they're the ones who took me to Australia and to New Zealand, which my grandparents love it out there. Mm-hmm. They're big rugby fans. So even that whole thing, I think it's funny that I think if we wouldn't have been friends, I definitely would not think so highly of traveling. Like I wouldn't see such a value in it.
Yeah.
I think it's just that idea that like, I think really when you went to your internship too, I was like, wait, you just up and did that. Like maybe I could up and do that too.
No, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that just got me like that
I got
bug.
a month pass from high school, took that shit, flew across the fucking world for a month, and I was dilly-dallying out there.
You really were, honestly. No, yeah. You were so fucking annoying.
I was like hanging out with kangaroos and shit, and like everyone was like at their grueling actual like internships. I was like,
mine was fun.
No, yours was.
I did a teaching one.
Yeah. There you go. And I was traveling and seeing fucking animals. I was at a zoo. That was my my internship. I was like at this zoo.
Wait, is this a full circle moment?
Kinda. Oh my god.
That is oh my god, and
then
just got that.
Ah! Wait, did we like
that is I brought that up as a one-off because we were like having the conversation.
Yeah.
But for that internship, Rhea went to Australia and I did mine at a school. I just got a job.
You got it?
Yeah.
You got the callback? You got it?
Yeah.
So you can be teaching little piano?
Yes.
The way, dude.
But I just got a job at a school and you're moving to Australia in the same week. This was all happening. There is a few episodes back we were a little bit delayed. And that was why. It was because I was going through this job interview process.
And I was packing my whole entire life away.
That is crazy. How many years ago was that? That was our junior year. So that was 2015, 2016?
Yeah. So like 7, 8 years ago.
That is crazy. We're about to be in 2025 and that would have been 2015.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Honestly, I can't believe we got this on the pod right now. We really manifested our own lives.
Dude, we did. That's at the literal same exact time. Oh my god.
That's crazy.
Are we supposed to be friends?
Are we about to kiss right now? Shut off the camera. We're about to make out. Wow. That is really... Honestly, all this is to say, we've known what we wanted for a really long time.
Yeah.
It may take us... What was that, 2015?
To fucking get there.
Yeah, 10 years to get there, but I think we've always known.
Yeah, we've worked towards where we're at now. Either subconsciously or consciously, like...
Definitely subconsciously. I did not realize that until like 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, me too. I forgot about that. Fuck, that's crazy. Yeah, look at us living out our fucking childhood dreams.
That is insane. Wow. Our high school should just, like, cut that one clip and then use it as promo.
Yeah, literally.
They should be paying us.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well.
What a trip.
This was us on our careers.
Yeah.
You went around for the journey. We did a loop-de-doop and then did right back full circle moment.
Yeah.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Rhea.
And this was Snooze. Good night.